Hi folks, it's Reese. Just gonna try and keep this to 5-10 minutes or so because I don't want to be whispering on, because it's a game with not really, I feel, a massive amount to go into in depth. So, uh, goes without saying, a real game of two halves, really, with what would serve to be not maybe reality check is a bit strong because we've not lost, we've not been drastically poor, and uh, excuse me, should focus on doing this rather than watching Everton and Chelsea with one eye. So pause. Uh, yeah, uh, not a reality check because we're not lost, and I don't think anybody was coming into this game being naive and thinking that going to be an easy game, especially with Luton's record last year, how they got into the playoffs and how close the games are coming up. So we all expected a tough game, but Luton really disrupted us. He stopped us from getting into any form of crisp flow in the first half. It goes without saying that obviously, had we started the game quicker and not conceded the goal that we did after like 4 or 5 minutes, then we could have been much more fluent. Luton would have like, not shut up and shot the same way as he did, and our play could have been a lot crisper, and Burnley players in possession could have had a lot more options on the ball, but not to be the case in the first half. Seemed like sometimes we were lacking composure on the edge of the box. Like, not to call him out because he's 19 and I believe he's going to be a marvellous talent and a real, like, technical footballer, and it is great that he's come through Burnley's academy and it seems to have the skill set that he does have. But just a number of times, for instance, Derek Costello got to the edge of the area and then seemingly lacked the belief to really sort of, he'd do one thing well, and then when it got into the crucial position, he seemed to sort of lose faith in his own ability and check back too often, which was sort of symptomatic of what Burnley did, and Luton's goal coming so early in the game just sort of played into their hands. And how can I explain it? Like the sort of drawback of this uh, lovely possession based football that we're going to play is that if we can uh, put our rubber stamp on the game and be crisp and expressive with our passing and sort of dominant from the world goal and put the opposition on the back foot like we did, for example, Huddersfield last week, then there's everything like everything to be gained from the way that we're going about it and this philosophy. It looks so silky and impressive when we are the team in command that's imposing ourselves on the opposition, but the one sort of drawback of what we're trying to do is that if a team shuts up when a team shuts up the shop like Luton were able to do in the first half, then our build-up play can sort of look laboured, sluggish, and there are hints and murmurs of frustration in the crowd when players were going backwards and like I'm excited to see Burnley on the ball and dominating play because I've never seen it over the years. But like in the first half, when there was like quite a few sort of triangle passing routines between Taylor, Howard Bellis, and Roberts, and sometimes you can't see the output of like what the output of the play is going to be and where it's going to lead to. Then it does sort of get like possession for possession's sake, possession for possession's sake. But obviously, in the second half, Manuel Benson looked kind of electric, certainly in terms of his skill set. Definitely very skillful, very pacey. He delivered like, what was it, about three, not every cross, he did deliver some tame crosses uh, as well, but about three crosses where if we would have had a more instinctive striker, should we say, like a goal getter than Barnes, and more of a someone who makes more intelligent runs and bounds like Rodriguez or dare I say Vidra. If Vidra would have been on the pitch and able to anticipate those balls that Benson played, and then there were two or three real teasers where unfortunately we just didn't have someone making the right run to take advantage and utilise those balls. We would have had, I believe, two goals. Just unfortunate that we didn't have the right targets in place. But he's silky, he's exotic, he wants the ball, and certainly at this level, I think more often than not, he should have the beating of his defensive opponent in terms of pace and skill. So he gave us an injection, and fantastic goal from Brown, and like what a crisp strike. I feel that this season we are going to be likely to be able to contribute a lot more goals from all over the pitch, because at the moment it doesn't seem like we have a focal point, and it'll be up to Vincent whether that's what we inject. But because of the fluidity in the system, there should be goals coming from all over the pitch, and it is nice to see that everybody in midfield looks like eager to sort of have a shot when the ball comes away. Matson, definitely man of the match, I agree with it. Charlie Taylor, again, no qualms with his performance, really. Howard Bellis looked steady, although sometimes, he did put us under pressure by being a bit sort of erratic and whatnot at the back. But, when you've got to consider that physically we are one of the, probably, I presume, I've not looked up because I've not had time to bury my head in the stats, but I would imagine that physically we must be one of the smallest teams in the league, and apparently Luton are a very most physical team in the league, and you could see that, the sort of physical mismatches all over the field. And I must say, my heart was very much in my mouth every time we were defending set pieces, especially in the first half. Muric, again, he nearly gave me a cardiac arrest a couple of times. When the ball comes to him, it is almost as though you're like watching him, like we're adding your hands, watching through your fingers, deciding like, oh, it's the ball switch under him. Has he got it? Has he got it? But to be fair, he was really composed again. He's handling from corners, the way that he came and demanded the box again from crosses. I was really impressed with them all, and often when he picks out his man from a long pass, he sets it off on the attack, and it does seem to find his targets. If I was to say, like, one player I was maybe slightly disappointed in today. Not disappointed, but just wanting improvement. Like, I didn't think Cullen reached anywhere near the heights as he did last week. But then again, I think that credit for the press and like the physical elements that Luton's play, not giving them the time to dictate the play, that would account for that. I would say, uh, basically, Maatson had been man of the match. Barnes was terrific. I didn't think he got so much the rub of the green from the officials. I thought there were a number of times where, like, potentially his reputation from previous years of being somebody who likes to win a free kick when there's any form of physical contact and not necessarily uh, without it being an infringement every time. Maybe that counted against him and his reputation went before him, but today I didn't think he got anywhere near the fouls he deserves, and it was typical as soon as he did an infringement, he saw a yellow card. But ultimately, once we equalised, it was plainly obvious then that Luton were just a bit to a point. That's what we got. Burnley, knocked on the door, plenty of corners, plenty of possession, but it was just sort of the final ball and just not many chances created, but the excellent one where Barnes just fired over when he had nothing to him. When he took it from his instep and hit it first time, just narrowly over. That was the best effort that we had. But Luton just ran the clock down and frustrated us, and I'm sure on a different day we could have won the game if we would have played with anywhere near that. It sort of increased tempo and directness as we did for a lot of the second half. It would have been a win, but ultimately 4 points on the board, we've still not lost. Maybe me myself included, I maybe could and should have respected the Luton a bit more in my pre-match preview when I said I expected to win. Maybe I was just thinking about, Luton Town, the club, not being very fashionable and whatnot compared to realising how close they were to going up last season and the fact that they've retained most of the successful squad. So maybe we've got a point against, a very good team who will prove to be up to its challenges at the end of the season. But I just think it serves as a reminder that, yes, we were incredible against Huddersfield last week. I don't think, seeing as they lost to Birmingham last night, maybe that reflects where Huddersfield are at the moment. And equally, realistically, were we going to be able to replicate that level of command and dominance this week? Probably not. Maybe the best thing is that, we sort of met competent championship opponents today to sort of keep in mind for us that we can't just expect to turn up with our playing style and our exotic players and famous manager and feel like there's a divine right to sweep teams away with our passing every week, because it's not going to work like that. We play much better football today, but when you meet a team that's physical and there's a real clash of sort of footballing styles, then it's a question of who executes the plans better on the day. And Luton used their sort of wily championship experience and their knowledge of how to shut games down, and I suppose they'll go with happy team. But 4 points would have taken that after 2 games at the start of the season. on another day we would have won, but maybe if we had a more clinical striker and we would have played and had more freedom to play earlier on, then it would have been a different result. But now we move on to Watford on Friday. That I'll be doing a preview for, obviously, later in the week. But on Friday, we'll see a game of football where it'll be the more fluent footballing team that'll win the day. And I'm sort of getting the idea after today that frustration and sort of having teams come and put men behind the ball and stopping us from playing pockets, playing from the pockets in midfield might be a recurring thing this season, especially at home games, that teams might just come and set up defensively, and particularly if we lose the first goal, then that's when our system and philosophy will come under pressure. At half time, I would have more than taken a point, but I was just hoping that we could have just converted another chance in the 40 minutes or so that there was after Brownhill's equaliser. But not to be, you can definitely see what the philosophy is, what company's trying to achieve, and you can definitely, without doubt, see that it's just a case of the players gelling and that the system's going to grow. It's going to get more well-oiled week by week. But like I say, I do think it's integral that we don't give the first goal away very often, and if we do, then it's going to be a long afternoon for us sometimes. But on to what we call 4 points and everything to be pleased about. A lovely atmosphere, really loud on the turf today, and just nice to see Burnley dominating games and playing with a clear idea of what we're trying to do, and so much to be excited about from Benson and Matson particularly. And yeah, up the Clarets, and I'll see you probably on Wednesday as I move into my Watford preview. Thank you for watching Up the Clarets, and let's just be realistic that we're not going to win every game, and if it was sort of roles reversed, had we had the dominant performance today at home and blown Luton away like we did Huddersfield last week and sort of eked out a point on the road at Huddersfield last week, we would have been very satisfied. So we must not get too down about a draw, against a team that I think are going to be very useful in the end. So let's just see what Watford brings. Thank you for watching Up the Clarets, and have a lovely rest of your weekend. See you soon, guys. Bye.